Hey guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be part 5, I believe, for my makeup collection inventory video series. In this part of the video, I'm going to talk about my eyeshadows. With the exception of my eyeshadow singles, I did include that portion of the eyeshadows onto my eye products section, which was part 4, if I'm counting this correctly. The reason being was that this video is already super long. I kind of wanted to cut it down a little bit. So if you guys want to watch all of my singles, head on over to part 4. This is going to start with my duos and so on and so forth. So without making this intro too long, let's just get started. For duos, I only have these two. This one is from Jordana. I'm afraid Jordana has been discontinued. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I used to love the eyeliners and the lip liners from Jordana, but this is the only thing I have left from the brand. This is the Double Impact eyeshadow number 6. I guess the color is Double Impact. And this is the color, very pretty pinky champagne color in a dark burgundy color. I used to be really into dark burgundies. As you guys have used it. There's a little bit of a dip going in the lighter shade, a little bit going on in the darker shade, but not much progress. And then this one is from Victoria's Secret. This is about 10 years old. Like, this is super old. It has a dark matte brown shade and a pinky champagne color and a little sponge tip applicator right here in the bottom. I really enjoyed the makeup that I have used from Victoria's Secret. It's been a long time. The last thing I used up was a blush that came in this kit, and that was back in 2016, I think, when I first started my panning YouTube channel. So I've had this for a while. Maybe I should get onto that. For my trios, quints, and quads, these are the ones that I have. As you guys can see, I have a lot of Kat Von D. I kind of stocked up once they were rebranding, and these went on sale. But I'm going to start with this side right here, just because I have more of the other ones. This is from e.l.f. I don't think this has a name. Oh yeah, the Sculpting Silk Eyeshadow in the color Rosé All Day. This is what it looks like. You guys can see it, but still. Very pretty neutral shadows. And then this one also very neutral from Smashbox. This is the Nude Pink in the color Medium. Just dark brown, shimmery matte, and matte. And then I have two trios from Marc Jacobs. These both came from Marshalls. This is in the color the Ingenue? How do you say that? That's the color right there. Very basic neutral shades. And then this one is the Shoegazer, and it has a little bit of a pop of color here. There's a doggy here. If you have dogs, you get it. And then a matte mid-tone brown and a shimmer shade. This is the Lorac Pro to Go. It's a mini. It has basically the same shades as the Pro. It just comes in a separate packaging. Pretty nude colors, as you guys can see. And then these from Kat Von D. This one is Glam Rock, and that's what. I'm sorry about the shadows, guys. This is what this guy looks like. Then Nude Pop, a lot more colorful. Then you have the basic ones. This is in the color Plum. These are all matte shades. This is the color Sage. For some reason, these three don't open up back as much as the other two. And this one is in the color Rust. Very pretty. I think this is my, the matte ones, this is my favorite one. Then Plum, then Sage. These are my small eyeshadow palettes. For my inventory purposes, anything that has 6, 7, 8, or 9 eyeshadow pans, that is considered a small eyeshadow palette. Anything that has 10 or more is considered a large eyeshadow palette. So I have put everything in stacks. These are the small eyeshadow palettes that I only have from one brand, and then these others are the same brand. So I'm going to start with the singles ones first. This is from Estee Lauder, and it's super reflective, so I'm gonna try not to blind you guys. But this is what this palette looks like. It's very pretty. This came from Marshall's. Story of this makeup inventory. I should just not go to Marshall's at all. But this is super pretty color story. I really enjoy it. Then I have this one from ABH, the Norvina collection. This is the Mini Pro Pigment palette number 1. If you guys follow me since last year, you guys will have seen me kind of use these 3 shades to franken my eyeshadow palette that I was using. I love these colors. They're very, very pretty, and I'm excited to keep playing with it. Then I have one that's kind of boring. It's from Smashbox. This is the Photo Matte Eyes Eyeshadow Liner and Brow product. Basically, you can use these shades as liners, brow products, or eyeshadows. Very, very basic, but I enjoy it. The pans are pretty small, so I feel like I could go through this one fairly quickly. Then this one from Marc Jacobs. I don't know why I bought this, to be honest. I'm not really into this color story right here, so it was obviously an impulse buy. Pretty sure this came from Marshall's. Yeah, I don't see myself using these 2 shades, so I would just use these. I don't know, maybe it was like super on sale and that's why I got it, but yeah, I'm surprised that I got it. Then I have this one from Lime Crime. This is the Venus palette, and I did use this a little bit. You can barely even tell, but I think the formula was okay. It's been a while since I've used it, but I love the colors. Then I have this one from Fenty Beauty. This is the Kilowatt Foil highlighter palette, but I think you can use this on your eyes as well. And basically, because of the colors, I'm putting it on my eyeshadow stash instead of my highlighters, because I would never use these colors as highlighters, and I can use any of these as eyeshadows, so that's why I put it in this category. Then moving on to the stack over here now. This is from Huda Beauty, these 2. They're the 9-pan palettes. This is the Topaz Obsessions palette. Very, very pretty. I really love these colors. And then this one is the Coral Obsessions. I think this one came out first, then that was in the other one. But look at these colors. They're like super similar. I am well aware of it. If we put them side by side, like very, very similar. But I enjoy them, so that's all that matters. Then I have these 3 from e.l.f. This one is the Eye Enhancing Eyeshadow in the color Brown Eyes. They were supposed to be like specific to eye colors. And I actually had a Smashbox eyeshadow palette that was exactly these colors. I did a swatch and I was like, this is basically the same colors. And actually the ones from e.l.f. had more pigment than the ones from Smashbox, so I declared the other one and kept this one. Very, very pretty. I like all these shades. Then I have these 2 that came in like e.l.f. kits that were sold at Walgreens, and they were I think they were from, oh my gosh, like Disney villain collections. This one is Evil Queen, and it has very pretty colors. If I can just open this. Oh no. Well, you guys, I'm gonna have to get rid of this one because there's, can I open this one? Yes. The little mirror here that's here fell from this guy. So I super glued it and I thought it was dry. So I closed it, but I guess like, oh, am I gonna break it? So I closed it and I guess like it's still like, oh, there it is. Ah, ooh, now I got super glue on my fingers. Anyway, yay, I don't have to throw it away. Okay, this is Evil Queen. These are the colors. Very, very pretty. I have used these, as you guys can see. I've used this one more. This is Maleficent. And I think you guys can tell that these have been used more than these. But I really like them. They're kind of darker, so I would have to incorporate more colorful and lighter shades. These are more for like smoky looks, but I really enjoy using both of them. I'm gonna keep this one open a little bit so this completely dries. This one is okay. So yeah, these are from e.l.f. Then these two are from Sephora. They're basically the same thing. This is the, what is it called? Pocket Eye palette? I don't know. Very neutral shades. I would only use these 6, not these 2. This is a matte black and this is a black with glitter. Not, you guys know how I feel about black eyeshadows. And this one is the Wonderful Dreams palette. This has some more frosty eyeshadows and like silvers and champagnes and browns. So I feel like I could get more use out of this one. Again, Sephora eyeshadows are great. So those are these 2. Then I have these 3 from Urban Decay. I have the Naked Basics 2, which I think is not as versatile as the original Naked Basics mini. I don't think they make the regular, like the 1 mini anymore, but this one, I mean, I have it. I will definitely get use out of it. This is the Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat. I could never get my hands on the Naked, on the regular Heat palette, but I got my hands on the little one, so I'm happy with that. Super pretty colors. I'm really drawn to warm colors like that. And this one is also one of the older ones. This is the Wendy's Contraband. I really like this palette because their colors right up my alley. The browns, the purples, and then the pop of color in this teal color. I really love this palette. Then I have a lot of Too Faced. I just realized I have a lot of Too Faced. These are 8-pan palettes. This is the Shake Your Pom Poms, and that's what this guy looks like. Very pretty. I have never used this one, not even swatched it. Just kind of bought it and put it away. The Hot Buttered Rum. That's very similar to the Huda Beauty Obsessions. It's this color right here, this like mustard yellow color. Super pretty. Then the Gingerbread Spice. This is like a mini. I do have the gingerbread, and I think they came out with this one kind of making it a mini, like the mini petite heat. That's a mini for the regular heat, but I have both. So that's that one. Then we have the 9 shadow pans. You guys remember these? They were like super popular. The Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. I love this. Oh my gosh, I can smell it all the way over here. I love this purple shade right here. Super pretty. Then the Too Faced Totally Cute palette. I really love this too. Very like neutral shades, but then these 2 pops of color just make the whole thing come together. It's very pleasing to the eye to me, this palette. And of course, the Peanut Butter Honey palette, again with that mustardy yellow color. I absolutely love these palettes. Then I have an OG 9 shadow pan palette. This is in the cardboard packaging, you guys. This, I remember when I bought this was super old. Like I was like too broke to afford real makeup, like brand makeup. And this just holds a special place in my eye. Now that I'm looking at this one, I don't think I would ever use these 2, just maybe these 7 shades. But this is a classic. I mean, it's doing its cardboard box. And for the grand finale, I have my large eyeshadow palettes. Anything that's 10 pans and up are in here. I'm going to start with the palettes that I only have 1 from the brand. Starting from the top, I have this one from Stila. This is the Eyes Are the Window Mind palette. This is an all matte palette. I had purchased this because I wanted to do a dupe for the Urban Decay Ultimate Naked Basics palette when I first started my channel, but I realized I'm not a review channel. So yeah, this is an all matte palette and it's very nice. Then I have the Milani Bold Obsessions. This is the 02. I think that's what it's called, Bold Obsessions. And this one was a hot commodity on the beauty community. Very pretty. I think they've discontinued these palettes. I wish I had gotten one. Love Heather Red just recently, was it her? I think she was getting rid of a Milani eyeshadow palette. If it's who I think it is, she just posted a video on makeup she's not keeping anymore. Anyway, at the time I'm filming this. Anyway, this is very pretty. I wish I had gotten more eyeshadow palettes from this line. Obviously, I don't need them, but they're nice to look at. This one from Juvia's Place. That's a Heron by Juvia's. This came free in an Ulta goodie bag. I've never tried it. I've never tried anything from Juvia's Place, but the colors look very pretty and they look right down my alley. This one from Kylie Jenner, Sipping Pretty. This was free at Ulta. I think if you spent X amount of money, you got it for free. It's not something that I spent the X amount of money. It's just something that I happened to buy, and I met the threshold and it automatically applied to my cart. I was surprised when I saw it on the totals, but this looks pretty. I haven't tried it. I'm not familiar with any of her makeup. I've never used any of it, but as I'm looking at it, it looks pretty. But then again, like I said, I have no clue as to how good her products actually work. This one is from Color Rain. This is the Queen of Hearts eyeshadow palette. I bought this one because, you know, this was super popular a couple years ago. Everybody was talking about it and I got a super good deal on it. It was on sale, plus I got a discount for signing up with their email address. I think I end up paying like $11 or $12 for this palette, so it was a really, really good deal. And then last but not least, for the One Branders, I have this one from Jeffree Star. This is the Blood Sugar palette. I really like this palette. I kind of wish I had gotten my hands on the Thirsty palette, but unfortunately I was never able to. But this one is very pretty. I have used it before. As you guys can see, I've used this one, this shade right here called Blood Sugar. I think that's the only one I've used. I think so. And I really liked it. So if you like red shadows, this is a good one. I know Jeffree Star is controversial, but I don't buy makeup based on the person that's selling it. I buy it based on the product itself, and that's a good one. Next are the eyeshadow palettes that I have two of, and the first two are from e.l.f. I have these, is it 10 eyeshadow palettes, 12? I don't even know. But this one is the Matte for Matte 2 eyeshadow palette. Very pretty. I used to have like 4 or 5, but I know I decluttered a couple. I've used up one, so like I'm surprised I only have 2. If you look at my previous eyeshadow collections, I had like 4 or 5 of these, so I'm happy that I'm making my way through them. I like these shades. They're very pretty. This is an all matte palette. Very, very pretty. Then I have this one. This is the Modern Metals. This came along with, I think if you guys remember, it's a face palette from e.l.f. obviously. It had 3 highlighters and 3 blushes. They came together. And this one is also very pretty. This one does come with some shimmery metallic shades and then some mattes here at the end. Then I have 2 from Morphe. Ironically, they're both Jaclyn Hill. This is the Ring the Alarm eyeshadow palette. I haven't used it, but the colors, man, they're super pretty. And for these larger eyeshadow palettes, you guys will see that I have rarely touched them. This is the original Jaclyn Hill palette. And this one I have used a little bit. I've used these 2, these 3, this one right here, and I think that's it. But I mean, this is a beautiful palette. I really enjoy this palette when I used it. I know she came out with another one, but the palette doesn't seem to appeal to me too much. And then I have the last 2 that I have here are both from Sephora Pro. They're the Pro Pigment palette. This is the Warm, and it has a ton of shades. I mean, these palettes are heavy. This is what this one looks like, giving me some Huda Beauty Bold Obsessions vibes. So that's this one, very pretty. And then the other one is, what is this called? The New Nudes. Sephora kind of like re-released it, and that's what this has. A little bit more color. I love that it has some reds, and then these shades right here, like the Dewdrop and Wisteria, a little bit of a purple hue there. But yeah, these are very pretty shades. I think that once I start using them, I will really enjoy them. I have 2 brands that I own 3 palettes from. The first one is from Tarte, and they're all the Tartelette palettes. The original Tartelette, the Tartelette in Bloom, and the Tartelette Toasted. So the Tartelette is an all matte palette. There was a time when brands were really into neutral matte eyeshadow palettes, and Tarte was no exception. I remember getting this one for a birthday gift. Then the Tarte Let in Bloom. It's a little bit also neutral, but they're started incorporating a little bit more shimmers in this one. And the Tarte Toasted has a lot more warm shades, a little bit darker, some shimmers. Love this row right here in the middle. Very, very pretty. I wish I could get my hands on these. I wish I was the kind of person who rotated more through their makeup. Then 3 from BH Cosmetics. This one is the Royal Affair. This has been discontinued. I love this palette. Just looking at it makes me happy. Hopefully again, I know it gets annoying when I say hopefully again I'll start using it. And then the Weekend Festival, also this one was very, very popular when this first came out. And this is a more colorful palette. Really love the pops of color, the blues here, the yellows and the green, this teal up here. Really, really like this palette. Looks pretty. I am happy just looking at it. And this was a total impulse buy. Kind of sort of regretting getting this one. This is a Zodiac. This one was very, very popular when it first came out, also getting sold out. It was kind of hard to keep your hands on this one. It's very bulky. You get a highlighter in the center, then matte shades here, and then your metallic shimmer shades on the edges. Sometimes I think about maybe decluttering this palette, but then I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. I bought this at Marshall's. I think it was like $7, if I'm not mistaken. I got a super good deal on this guy, so I'm glad that I didn't pay full price for it. BH Cosmetics is not a traditionally expensive brand, but still I'm glad that I didn't spend so much money on this. Again, I have 2 brands that I own 4 palettes from. We're moving up in numbers. The first one is ColourPop. This is the designer Disney collection with the Disney princesses, and I honestly forgot about this palette, you guys, when I was getting ready to film this video, and I opened it and I was like, oh my gosh, these shades are so pretty. That's what happens when you have a lot of makeup. You kind of forget about what you have, but that's this one. Very pretty. Something that was a cult classic, the Yes Please palette. Very, very pretty as well. Then the Double Entendre. Also, this one kind of looks kind of boring now that I'm looking at it. If I were to declutter makeup, I think this would be one of them, just because it looks kind of boring and I feel like I have these shades a ton over, especially these in all those matte eyeshadow palettes like from Tarte and Stila and stuff. I think I could dupe some of those. And then the last one from ColourPop is this one, this Fortune. I think it came with it was like 2 palettes. It was a cool toned and a warm toned palette, and like I think they were, if you put them together, it created a scene. This is the Fortune palette, like I said, and this is the warmer of the 2. As you guys can see, I've used it a little bit here, and then these 2. The other one was, like I said, more cool toned, and I gravitate more towards warmer shades, if you couldn't tell. The other brand that I own 4 palettes from is Lorac. This is the Lorac Gold palette. And again, neutrals galore. It's still very pretty. This is the Desert Unzipped Sunset palette. And this one's very pretty. I like that you get a little bit more pops of color. This one is also one that I've used before, as you guys can hopefully see. Really, really enjoyed it. And that's how I ended up with so many like eyeshadow primers from Lorac, because they all came with these with these palettes. And then I have 2 Lorac Pro palettes, Makeup Pro palettes. I have 3 and 1. The third one is this one, also kind of boring, very warm toned, but these I hear are very powdery, and the pans are pretty small compared to other eyeshadows. So I feel like this is something that you could hit pan on very quickly and use up. I know Amber F, I think she almost finished, I don't remember if she completely finished this one or was very, very close. She wasn't like actively panning it. She was incorporating it with her other pan palettes, but she ended up like almost using all of them. This is the first one, like the original Lorac Pro. Very pretty. I still enjoy it. Next brand that I have here is ABH. I own 5 palettes from her. In no particular order, this is the Anastasia Prism palette. I bought this color specifically for that neon green. I think the shades are really pretty. All of them are pretty wearable, but there was something about this shade right here that really drew me in. And I bought this at Marshall's. Marshall's always has a lot of like ABH palettes whenever she released them. I never saw the purple one. I forget what it's called. The Norvina palette at Marshall's, but this one I know I got there. The Soft Glam, it's brand new. I haven't used it, but you guys know what this looks like. Super pretty, neutral, warm tones. Subculture, I think you guys know the drama that followed this palette, just because this was a follow-up to the Modern Renaissance, and it was super like subpar compared to the Modern Renaissance one. But I think this was the second batch. I haven't used it, obviously, but I think this one was the reformulated, because people were so upset that it was really bad, like the first batch that came out. They reformulated or they fixed something. It had something to do with like the lot numbers. I don't know, but I think this was the good batch. So we'll see how it is when I use it. This is Modern Renaissance. I actually hit pan on one of the shades on Venetian Red. This was part of a, I think it was like 2 months one palette or 1 month one palette. I don't remember, but one year I tried rotating through my eyeshadow palettes and I actually hit pan on this one. So I like the formula. I know that they work really great, and I thought about making this my pan that palette, but I kind of went another way. So we'll see. Maybe next year this will be my pan that palette. And then this one, if you guys follow my channel regularly, you guys would have seen my sister gifted this to me. She got this, and she gifted me a bunch of eyeshadow palettes, and this was one of them. And I gave some in a giveaway, and I kept some other ones, and this is one of the ones I kept. Very pretty, lots of pop-up color, a little bit intimidating with those greens, but overall I enjoy how this palette looks. Next up, I have Kat Von D. I have 7 palettes from her, and I call it Kat Von D because these palettes were released when the brand was called Kat Von D, and that's why. I'm sorry, I'm not calling it KVD. That's just not what this was called, you know, when they came out. Anyway, this one was gifted to me from my sister. I think this was the first thing that she got from Gratis. Very pretty. I've swatched it only, but I haven't used it. This is the Monarch palette, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it's called. Then the Serpentina palette. This comes with some pressed eyeshadows and a loose pigment. This was all the rage. As you guys can see, I have used it a little bit. I remember liking it, so hopefully I will continue to like it. Something that I was looking at when I was getting ready to make this video is this palette, the Metal Matte palette. One of those that you can read it both ways, metal and then matte. What is it called when you can read it both ways? Let me know. But this has a ton of eyeshadow. It has a bottom here that are matte, and then a top row here that are shimmery. And now that I'm looking at it, when I was getting ready for this video, I'm like, I don't really care for this color story. I think I mainly bought this palette because it was really popular. Everybody was talking about it, and you would see people doing tutorials with it, and it was really hyped up. But again, like I'm saying, now that I'm looking at it, it's not something that, if this was released today, it's not something that would catch my eye. But you know, I did buy it. I will be keeping it, and hopefully I can get some use out of it soonish. This one is this one is from KVD. See, KVD Vegan Beauty. So it is not Kat Von D, but you know, same thing. This is KVD Vegan Beauty, and this is what this looks like. Very pretty shades. The packaging is kind of underwhelming just because it's all cardboard. I guess because it's a cleaner brand now than before. I don't know, less waste. I don't know. But I'm excited to try those colors. Then going back to Kat Von D, this is the Metal Matte Mini because, you know, you had to get everything. This is a smaller version. If this were an option now, like if they re-released this one and the big one, I would definitely go with this one. These colors are way up my alley, as opposed to like the greens and the blues and the dark purples that are on the big one. Yeah, this one's way more up my alley. Then this one was the 10-year anniversary eyeshadow palette, when Kat Von D turned 10. And very pretty, kind of gives me vibes of a Urban Decay eyeshadow palette that you guys will be seeing soon. But yeah, very pretty. Then I have the Saint and Sinner palette, more of a bulkier packaging. This guy opens up how? Okay, like this. And I did use this one quite a bit, actually. I don't know if you guys can see the usage on the first row and on Rapture, then Worship, which is the purple one, then the green one, Vestment, and then the dark brown Crucifix. I did use this a little bit. Oh, Ministry too, that blue color. I really like this palette. I really like the shades. I remember really enjoying this palette. The only thing is that, like I said, it's super bulky. But yeah, these are my shades from Kat Von D. I haven't really kept up with the brand. There was a couple of years where obviously I felt like I needed to get everything from Kat Von D, but I kind of outgrew that phase. Like I said, I pretty much like everything that I have except for this one. This one just doesn't really do much for me. I do have the box that this came in, and sometimes I'm thinking, well, maybe I should like sell it or something, but it's just too much work. I'll keep it and we'll see what happens. Then the second brand that I have the most of is Too Faced. I am surprised. I have 10 eyeshadow palettes from Too Faced. Well, large eyeshadow palettes, because you guys saw I had a huge stack of little mini eyeshadows. But anyway, yeah, I have these, and let's just get started, shall we? I'll start with this one. This is the White Peach palette. I think I got this on clearance at Sephora, but that's this one. Very pretty. Then I have the Palm Springs Dreams. You guys saw the mini one called Shake Your Pom Poms. Look at that blue right there, the color Swank. Oh, I love it. Then I have the, let's do this one, the Just Peachy Mattes palette. Again, I really like this color story. It might look a little boring because they're all mattes, but I think they still look really pretty. And then the I Want Candy palette from Candy Johnson. If I could just get this, there you go. That's what this palette looks like. I think somebody told me in their comments that they were panning this for their Pan That palette. And this is a great palette to pan just because the colors are easy to wear. And it would be a good choice. So good job if you pick this to be your Pan That palette. So that's that one. Then I have like the traditional, what is this, 12 shadow pans. This one is the Pumpkin Spice. Ah, so pretty. Then this is the Sweet Peach. Look at that. Then the Gingerbread Spice. I love this color right here. Very pretty. Then the Gingerbread Extra Spicy. You'll kind of end up looking the same. Then this is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold. Very pretty. I love that pink. I wasn't really into this palette, but then I saw somebody do an eyeshadow look with this one, and I really liked how it looked. And I was at Marshall's one day, and I saw it, and I was like, come to mama. Let me try you. And then, oh my God, that smells so good, like the bronzer. Like the chocolate scent. Oh, love it. Then this is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons. This is really cute with the heart-shaped pants. Really like that pink right here in Totally Fetch. And yeah, this is a pretty good palette. And last but definitely not least, the brand that I own the most large eyeshadow palettes from is Urban Decay. You guys probably are not surprised because I've said many times that Urban Decay is my favorite makeup brand. I really love their lip products. So yeah, let's just get started, shall we? This is the Urban Decay Ultimate Naked Basics. This is the palette that I wanted to do that Stila palette with, but obviously I never made it happen. This is a bigger version of the Naked Basics palette. So yeah, that's this one. Then I have the original Naked palette. So you guys can see, pretty sure you guys know what this looks like, but just so you guys see it. Then I have the Urban Naked Smoky. This is one of those that I kind of regret buying just because I would never use these darker shades right here. I would really just use the ones on the outside and these out here. So it was kind of a wasted purchase. I kind of was in a kick of where I wanted to own all the Naked palettes, more for like a collector's purpose type thing. But this is one that I kind of regret buying. I'm just not really into darker shades. This is the Born to Run palette. I love this palette. I love the shades. I love the color story. I just love everything about this palette. Even the packaging, like the pictures and stuff. I think it's really great. Then I have, this one is the Urban Spectrum eyeshadow palette. I don't like the packaging on this one just because this thing comes out and it kind of feels like loose when you close it. But that's what this guy looks like. A lot of greens, yellows, and purples. A little bit of browns here on the bottom. A little bit of a darker color story, but I still like most of the shades. I wouldn't say that I like all of them. I like most of them, but I like it enough to keep it. It has survived 2 declutters that I've done in my life. This is the Full Spectrum palette. This is one of the other palettes my sister gifted me or handed down to me. And this one looks very similar to that one from Kat Von D that I was telling you guys about. Was it the 10-year anniversary one? I think that's the one. But I like this one a lot more than this one. But I mean, I like them both enough to want to keep both of them, you know? So that's this one. Then my most recent purchase, you guys would have seen that if you follow my Insta stories. This is the Naked Reloaded. I got this for like $17 after sale in a coupon. Very pretty, right up my alley, warm shades. Then I have the Naked 3 palette. I used to own the Naked 2, but I gave it to my sister. She was kind of going through my makeup and I gave her some stuff and she ended up picking also the Naked 2 palette. So I no longer own it. I don't care to buy it to replace it. I'm kind of over the wanting to collect all the Naked palettes. But anyway, this is the Naked 3. Very pretty shades, very light, but all wearable, kind of like a pinky undertone to all of them. I enjoy it. I hope that I can get some use out of it. Then the Urban Decay Naked Honey. This is more of like a yellow and browns. Still very, very pretty. I really like it. Then the Urban Decay Naked Cherry. This is more of a red and burgundy type shades. Really, really love it. One that I wish I had gotten my hands on was the Naked Heat. And I really would like to get the Naked Western. I think that's what it's called. I think those two are very pretty. I never got into the ultraviolet one. But anyway, and lastly, I have this one. This is the Vice palette. I think it was the Vice number 4. This is a funny story because I used to own this palette. This is what it looks like. I used to own this palette and I decluttered it. I gave it away just because it was one of those palettes that I figured, you know, oh, I'll be okay without it. You know, I can move on. And then when my sister sent me those 7 palettes, this was in it. So, and it's funny because I gave my palette to a friend. So it's not like she gifted it back. It's just funny that she had it and she felt like she needed, like that she could do without it as well. So those are my large eyeshadow palettes. And there you have it. Those are my eyeshadows. So now let's get down to the nitty gritty, which are the numbers. So again, comparing my numbers from December 2020 to December 2021, which is when I originally filmed this video. It's just taken me forever to upload. So for eyeshadow duos, last inventory I had 3. This time around I have 2, so that did go down by 1. I did use the Urban Decay split pen eyeshadow that I had, so I counted that as a duo. So that's where the 1 came from. From trios, quads, and quints, somehow I went up by 2. I don't know where these 2 came from. Last time I had 9. This time around I counted 11. It is what it is. Then for the small eyeshadow palettes, this category also went up. For last inventory I had 65. Right now I have 60. No, wait, wrong line. Small eyeshadow palettes, I had 22, and now I have 28. So that did go up by 6. And then for big eyeshadow palettes, I had 65 last update, and now I have 64. So that did go down by 1. So I'm super, super excited. I'm trying to think about the palettes that I used up last year, but I think most of them were face palettes. I think it's just the one that I used up from Urban Decay, the Ammo palette. Did I use up any more eyeshadows? I don't think I did. Oh my gosh, no, I have 65. That category has remained the same. It's not 64, it's 65. I am forgetting to add the big palette that I have, that I had in that Urban Decay by Gwen Stefani palette. I forgot to include it in these numbers. So yeah, stayed the same. I was really excited because I had finished 1 palette, but no, I didn't finish anything. This is just still the same. So I guess it is what it is. Oh man. So I did go up by 8 product number wise. Well, no, because I did use up 1, so I guess 7. So I mean, it is what it is. I like eyeshadows. You guys just saw the inventory, and there were some palettes that were feeling me very uninspired. So I might do a declutter later on in the year. You guys know I'm not a big declutterer person. Declutterer, a big declutterer. Sounds weird in my. It sounds weird to me. But yeah, maybe I'll do a declutter to help out with these numbers. The numbers, I mean, they are what they are, you know? They're not really taking up a lot of space in my collection. They are still storing in the exact same way that they've always been stored. My sister did gift me a few palettes earlier this year. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing. If I didn't have space and I was having to store things in other places, then I would say it's a problem. But I have plenty of storage in the current storage that I have it in, so it doesn't really bother me much. But there are some palettes that you guys heard me say I didn't care for, that I could just really left me really uninspired. So maybe later on I could do a declutter. Don't hold me to it. Not that I don't like doing declutters, but if I find a way to make things work, I will look for that first instead of just getting rid of the palette. So for now, that is what my eyeshadow collection is looking like. I think I only have lips left for categories, and then that'll be it for my makeup collection. So stay tuned for that. That's all I have for now for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.